thank you so much for having me, guys. I've been really excited about this interview, and I must say, so today we're talking about Barn X, which is this sustainable work environment place you have built in England.
So let me start with that. So, I mean, great to be talking to you, Morten. I'm here at Rare in Barn X. Actually, I would give you a tour by pulling the camera around, but you've seen the video, so hopefully that the video does a really good job. So obviously I get to run the studio. I was part of the team that thought about what do we want Rare to be in the future? How do we think about the workspace and actually expanding a new building on Rare's campus? And to introduce Sean. Sean was our design and sustainability consultant. That when we started work on with essentially a blank piece of paper, how do we want the new building to exist? How do we want to think about sustainability? How do we want to think about the impact it has on our developers, but ultimately on the world? And that led to things like the solar farm and the building materials and a bunch of stuff we can get into more.
Yeah, so it's great you're talking about all that stuff, but really, so I watched this video where you presented Barn X, right? And what I really took away from it, and I think it's so great. You have so many great ideas, and I think it's very important for the world. But what I took away from it is that you apparently make your own honey.
Okay. Yeah.
How can I get some honey from Rare?
From Rare honey. I'm sure we can sort that out. We'll figure that out. But I think the point there is I guess the wider point, like sustainability is not a new topic, and actually it's a word that I think is used a lot. Sean's whole profession's built around the word sustainability, so it's probably used and misused. Rare, we are really fortunate. We're in the heart of the English countryside. We're surrounded by fields, trees, nature, which does affect the way you feel. And, well-being is very important to us. And you are 100% right. We have fields and walking tracks, and there are some beehives, and we have a beekeeper who's not employed by Rare, but the hives are on Rare's site. He will come along, he will collect the honey, he'll collect whatever bees make, the husk things. We'll then go and process the honey, and then it is available for staff to buy. So, but I'm sure we can send you one. It is branded Rare honey.
So how did this idea for Barn X come up? Was it you, Sean, that presented the idea?
No, it's Craig's need for space on site. That was the start of the process. The project team delivered the ask, but there was a need to make sure that natural materials were part of the building. Yeah. Natural bio-based materials, studies show they're more comfortable spaces, they're better for your health and well-being. That was the driver. So, the building you'll see from the video, the central spine on the 2 floors has focus rooms, meeting rooms. Outside of that, you have the workspaces, the desking arrangements, where there are views out to nature. And we tried to bring nature into the building as much as outside. We didn't tick a box by providing a window so you have a view. We tried to add drama to that view. So
I'm saying this with totally transparency. It really looked like a place I wanted to work. It seemed so relaxing. It seemed comfortable. It was big open areas, and yes, as you say, there's a lot of green. There's a lot of plants that just it makes it look comfortable. But how? And that must be the main question. How is this helping game development?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like, ultimately, I think we all believe the way you feel affects your work in many, many ways. It affects how productive you can be. It affects how you collaborate, and ultimately, the environment impacts your well-being as well. So I think you can talk about a place that inspires creativity and collaboration. And there's a bunch of examples of how we've done that. You know, the interior space is totally configurable, so we can make small team areas, large team areas. We can repurpose areas. There's, you know, soundproofing. There's lots of meeting space around. So if you think about surrounding a team with everything it needs, there's a very functional way to do that.
Yeah.
But I think the bit you've hit on is a really important bit, which is how does the space make you feel? And if you're in a space that is well lit, is, you know, you've got the nice high ceilings, there's lots of wood, there's lots of trees, lots of plants around, the place itself just feels energizing and it feels fun to be in, and it just has an energy, which sounds weird, but it has an energy to be in which makes you feel better. It makes the work environment more fun to be in. And then that is the basis for, you know, people enjoying their work. And when we're solving hard challenges, doing that in a place where you're all together and you can work together. But then when we do have, we work with teams all around the world, you know, all of the meeting rooms have the, you know, I'm sitting in a meeting room now, we've dialed you in, you know, Sean's down in London, like we've all got on a call together. Like, how can you make those things as seamless as possible as well? So whether you're remote or in person, we can make the work environment amazing for everyone.
Yeah. So having had the opportunity to visit a lot of studios around the world, I think it is very often that they are placed in the big cities and are surrounded by a lot of buildings and a lot of concrete. And I really, really think there is something. I live at the country myself. I have a house right out on a field here in Denmark, and I feel that it is so refreshing. It's refreshing for the mind to be surrounded by nature. And when I see the video of where your studio is placed, it feels very relaxing. It feels very Zen-like, if you must, and also great because it could be a place that your employees can't get away from. They're trapped in the country. Yeah, no, it's a joke, right?
And it's more the point of, hey, if you're going to spend time in a workplace, make it a workplace you want to spend time in, and make it a place. And Sean could talk to this a little bit more. Like when we designed the building, yes, we are in a large campus with grounds. So it was like, how do we best use those grounds? And that's where things like the solar farm, the walkways, the paths.
It's very Scandinavian. It's very Scandinavian. When I look at the art, so I'm from Denmark, right? And it looks very much like something that a guy would build in Denmark.
There's a very Nordic feel to the building, right?
Yeah.
There's a very Nordic feel. And Craig's made a good point there, right? And you as well, Morten, you know, you talk about buildings in the city and concrete. Rare is in a unique location, right? And as I understand it, the games community, it's a very competitive space. So if you want to attract staff and you want to then retain that staff count, you've got to provide for that and you've got to allow for that. And I don't think anybody's done it better than Craig. Since the building is complete, I was on site yesterday for a tour. It's my third visit since it's complete. I said to Craig, it's never a chore to be asked to come to Barnex. It's never difficult to ask to make that visit. It's just a beautiful space.
And I think so. At Arcaden, where we work, we are very big fans of Xbox, and we're very big fan of the ideas and especially the company policies. And when I look at Barnex and what you have done over there, that really resonates.
Yeah, it's really important. And if you think about even Rare's history, you know, Rare will be 40 years old as a developer next year, in 2025, which means Rare's been about since the start of the games industry. Some of the Rare campus is kind of 20 years old now. That was built in the late 90s, 99, I think it was built. But just how you make games is different now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we wouldn't have been talking about hybrid collaboration back in the early 2000s. That just wasn't a thing. So having spaces that think about making games today and actually, as you say, you know, well-being, how people feel, having spaces to go and relax, having a creative hub where you can go and problem solve, having a gym on site, having a good canteen. So we do hard creative, like making games is tricky. Like there's a lot of complexity in making games today. So how can the environment help make that as comfortable and as awesome as possible for the team? Like that's the job I can do. That's Sean, our facilities team. The job we can do is create the environment. Ultimately, the team can. I've got enough people making great games. Like the team can go make the games. Our job's to create the environment that allows them to do their best work.
Yeah, and as I said, I think it really shows. Is Barn X the first of its kind?
In some ways, yeah. Sean, you can talk about maybe some of its sustainability credentials.
Yeah, I mean, the building itself, and I don't want to compare it to other games facilities because I'm not a gamer. I wouldn't benchmark games.
You should try. Sea of Thieves is a great game, man.
I'm a bit too long in the tooth at this stage, Martin. But just to explain the building in itself, right? It's a mass timber building. Again, you talked about the Nordics. I think that's something that's moving south, and Europe has to embrace that. It also has timber cladding on the outside. We were very clear on the type of cladding we wanted. The project team picked Accoya, which is from New Zealand. They heat treat it, which means they don't have to seal it or put coatings on it. And it will stand up to a 60-year service life. The other thing we tried to do with all of those natural materials is to ensure that we made it demountable, deconstructible, right? We don't want to take a wrecking ball to it in 60 years. We want to be able to reclaim those materials and reuse where possible. And that's a big thing. That's the way forward, that idea of design for deconstruction.
And that's, I think it all comes back to the feeling of it's a great place to work, right? Because it's when you work at a place that it's also aware of the environment and the responsibility we have on nature and the world. It makes you feel good working there, right? Yeah.
And it's important to us. It's important to Microsoft as one of the biggest global companies in the world. It's important to our team. Like our team care about the world or about sustainability. So for them to know that, and I think Ryan says this really well in the video, is like, making games could seem like a frivolous use of power.
Yeah.
But the fact that we have a building that has, all of these sustainability credentials around its power use and water use, and the fact we have a solar farm in the field next to it powering some of that building, like it does help offset that, like, hey, we're making games, but actually, some part of our energy is powered by the sun. So the world and the sun is helping us make games.
Yeah.
Which I love that sentiment.
Yeah. And I think
more just on the video, I mean, there is a dramatic effect from the drone video shots and all that sort of thing. But what shouldn't be lost in that video is the testimonials from the staff, right? The things they say about that building, really brings it home, that message that, Craig and the team have delivered for them.
Yeah, I believe them. It is
not scripted,
but it is so normal when you watch these kind of testimonials that they feel so created or what kind of word? And they don't in your video. It feels super genuine. Yeah.
But they are Barn X now. They are they are part of that story now.
How many employees are you at the Rare at this point?
Yeah, so we're about 200 full-time staff, and we have, but again, without going too much into it, making games are complex. We have, we have contract staff, we have co-devs that work with us, we have partner teams. So, 200 people exist that work at Rare, but actually there's many, many more people in many other teams, outsourced partners, co-dev partners that work with us on our games. So it's not
how
just
many
the people.
At Barn X?
Yeah, so Barn X holds so the footprint is 85 people. I think 85 people in a workspace, as you can see, is very different to how we thought about 85 people in a workspace maybe 10 years ago. So again, we've tried to make sure that each of the work pods are highly customizable, that people have got plenty of space. As you can imagine, making a game like Sea of Thieves, developers will have multiple dev kits, multiple PCs. There'll be a lot of usage and power consumption going on. So actually focusing those collaboration spaces in Barn X, where we have the solar PV powering some of the building. So we actually, so we have, Barn X is full, it has 80 to 85 people in it, but actually Rare's always been pretty flexible with how we put teams together. So what we'll do is put cross-discipline teams in a space and actually use the space for collaboration. So Barn X is the best place we have in the studio for having multiple different teams together that work together. And then that's freed up other spaces in the studio elsewhere to use. So we took out one of the floors from one of the other barns and made that into a learning and development center. So that's like a almost classroom, so Barn X has offered us the swing space to reuse different parts of the site in other ways.
And because I can see my time is running up, I have to congratulate you on the success of Sea of Thieves. It has been so fantastic to watch the Sea of Thieves hype come back, and also everybody in the world, not everybody, but a lot of game studios in the world are trying to make these game as a service kind of games. And you see time and time and again how hard it is to make a great video game. And I think it's incredible what Sea of Thieves has accomplished. It was the most pre-ordered game on PlayStation in the UK and in the America. How do you feel about that?
I'm firstly, thank you for those kind words. Look, immensely proud of the team. Like what we've built in Sea of Thieves is an evolving game like no other. And there are still no other games like Sea of Thieves. It stands very unique. We've had great success on Xbox, great success on PC. We're really excited about PlayStation players coming to Sea of Thieves as well. I mean, the game is about going and sailing on a pirate ship with your friends and having fun. So, and actually which platform you play on, actually, as long as you can connect with your friends and play games together, that's what we care about. So,
and I think,
I love we are bringing it to PlayStation soon. And the excitement is, we're as excited about it as the community is. So it's going to be a great moment for the game.
I think it's going to be a huge success, and I love this philosophy that Xbox has given games like Sea of Thieves, that they are community driven, so they have to be available at as many communities as possible. I think it's so fantastic. Okay.
No, thank you, and we enjoy making it as much as everyone enjoys playing it. So and again, it comes back to the bit like, Rare is a fantastic place full of amazing people, and our job is to create that environment so those amazing people can do their best work. But it's really, it's ultimately down to the people and the dev team and those all those people I can see out the window here that work super hard every day, pouring their creativity into games like Sea of Thieves.
Do you have any other animals besides bees at your at Barn X?
We do allow dogs, so as a Rare policy. So as long as people are well behaved, that people can have their dogs in work. There's certain areas where they're allowed, certain areas where they're not. But we do have staff members that will bring dogs on site. So which is pretty cool.
Can you tease something here at the last moment about the upcoming stuff for Sea of Thieves? You have done a lot of great, inspiring collaborations with Pirates of the Caribbean, Return to Monkey Island, and stuff. Are you continuing that in the future?
I will get in trouble if I tease anything, but we have an exciting year ahead. That's what there you go.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Craig. I'm so sorry that the time is running out. It has been such an amazing opportunity to talk to you, and I think it's so great what you're doing, both at the game studio, but also pushing game development to new places with sustainability.
I appreciate that. Absolutely. And yeah, it was great to chat to you. And thanks for the smart questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I need that honey, man.
And we'll get that sorted. Leave that one with me.